From the Italian company Isotta, we received some very nice accessories for the Honda Transalp. We have 2 windshields and a GPS mount. Let's check it out. Here are the windshields. We have a smaller one. So this is the smaller version which we're about to mount on the bike. I actually need one of those for my off-road riding because I don't need a higher windscreen when I'm off-road, and this Isotta windshield came perfectly on time for my off-road trainings. We're gonna mount it on the bike and make some test rides. The next one is the higher windshield from Isotta. This is the second one which we received. We're gonna start actually with this one to test it on a highway. Check it out. You already saw the unboxing, but now we're gonna test out this Isotta windshield, the higher version, on the highway and offer you some feedback. And on top we have the GPS mount. First we need to put this rubbers in the 4 holes of the windshield. This anti-vibrations rubber. Very nice attention to detail when it comes to Isotta windshield. It looks very nice. Will prevent the screen from vibrating and will keep it quite tightly in place. After the rubbers we have these plastic caps which will come on top of the rubber on the front side. This is it. So this will enter here. We have 4 of them. Let's proceed. And now comes a challenging part, to put this last piece of the puzzle with a screw. And you put the screw here. You need to keep this tight on the back side with your hand, and then mount everything, all the 4 screws. But you need to keep tight with this plastic. You have this nose plastic, so called. You need to keep it tight from the back of the windshield and use the screw with a lot of power to mount it. Alright, I've managed to mount the Isotta taller windscreen for my Honda Transalp. It was a little bit of struggle with the lower ones because you need to keep your hand. Let me show you. You have this nose plastics, so called, which you need to keep them as long as you tied up the screws. It's very easy for the top ones, for the one which are on top. Actually the plastics are a very clever idea because they fit perfectly in the bracket, in the OM bracket, you can see, and they provide stability. You can see here they enter directly in the shape of the bracket, in the shape of the OM bracket. You can check it out. Let me film also from the back side. You can see here that they enter exactly in the shape of the bracket. So no issues for the top bolts, which are left and right side. But in order to tie up the lower bolts, you need to put your hand here. You can do this at some point, but when the force, you need more force, when you need more force, then I found a solution. Just move the windshield towards you a little bit so you can provide stability for the nose plastic behind, and then you can tie up the screw easily. Well, not easily, but anyway, much better. So I was able to mount it. It's very stable. This is the Isotta windscreen. Time to put it on the highway and check its performance. Alright, so far we have 100 kilometers per hour, and I can see the difference. when I compare it with the standard screen. We don't have so much buffeting. Let's go and rise up to the highway speed. Yes, it's pretty good, pretty good. I mean, you can have the wind, you have the wind coming up on top of the helmet, but the side of the, let's say the shoulders, are much better protected from the wind. There is still buffeting, but not so much. Perhaps it's coming from the trucks. And yes, it's definitely an improvement, definitely. In terms of visibility, the screen is very transparent. I mean, it doesn't block you anyway, the view. And the visibility is very good, although the screen is pretty high. I mean, it covers half of the road, but in the same time, it deflects the wind pretty good. Imagine normally on a touring, you're not riding with the highway speeds, so this is somehow a test for someone who's especially riding on the highways, but usually I'm riding 90, 100 kilometers per hour maximum, but we have to test the screen at different speeds. This is the highway speed, and the protection is pretty good, pretty decent, especially when it comes to the helmet. I mean, the fatigue comes when you have a lot of turbulences, a lot of wind and buffeting coming on your helmet. At 100 kilometers per hour, the protection is absolutely perfect. I mean, this is the speed I'm actually usually cruising on my riding days, on my riding trips. 90, 100 kilometers per hour, and the protection, it's perfect. And imagine we have a truck in front of us which is creating an extra buffeting. Yes indeed, at 100 kilometers per hour, the wind protection for this taller windscreen from Isotta, it's very good, very less buffeting, a very comfortable ride, and good visibility, which is very important. And I can recommend to put on the first place the visibility and your safety. The screen might look very nice, smoked or dark, but in the same time, it's very important to have a good visibility. The perfect speed, the perfect comfort which you get with this screen, it's at about 100 kilometers per hour. Even at 110, it's pretty good, not as good as at 100. At 130, you can manage it. It's becoming more and more, let's say, exhausting if you're riding the whole day long. It's an improvement, 100%, no doubt about it. I've made a video a few years ago, windshield or without windshield motorcycle. It was a video with my Honda XL750 where I've tested another windshield with or without it, and it was a huge difference. I mean, in the city traffic, you don't need this. If you're riding in the city, we have the other one, perhaps will be good for the city riding. We're gonna give it a try also to the second one from Isotta, a shorter one, the one which I actually will use in my next weeks and months on my off-road trainings. So this type of windshield you're using when you're cruising quite a lot, when you need to have comfort the whole trip. You don't want to ride 400, 500 kilometers per day with a lot of buffeting coming out. Each single detail matters, so I've experienced both with, without, smaller, bigger windscreen, and indeed with this type of windscreen the trip is becoming more and more comfortable. Now let's put on the smaller windscreen, the smoke one, the one which I'm gonna use in the next weeks for off-roading. Let's check it out for a bit. So this is it. This is the difference between them. You see, it's quite huge. So we're gonna mount it. It's the mounting instructions or the mounting procedures are the same as the taller one, that's for sure. And this is the smoke one. This I'm gonna use for off-roading, and I'm curious to see what type of visibility I will get on road and off-road. So let's mount it and check it out on the bike. So again, I'm gonna give you a tip installing this windshield without struggling too much with the bottom screws. Just pull the windscreen towards you while you're screwing, you know, and you have stability for these ones. You have stability for these ones because they fit perfectly to the OEM brackets. And to have stability for the nose plastics, just pull the windscreen towards you and screw tightly. The windscreen, it's anyway very resistant, so you need also a bigger screwdriver. Maybe this one from Honda, it's too small. I struggle quite a lot to tighten it up, so maybe a bigger screwdriver, and to have more momentum and force, you're good to go. These rubbers, they have pretty strong you know, purpose to keep everything you know, in place, to give you space to mount it and to prevent vibrations. Anyway, we have this one. It's way smaller, and now it's tied it up perfectly to the bike. And now let's face it, we're riding almost without a windshield. So this was my my favorite one from Isotta, the smaller one for off-roading. It's also the smoked version. Let's see. This is definitely not a screen to use on the highway, but still I was able to test it, and I can say that I was very surprised. I was expecting quite a lot of wind and buffeting coming from all sides, but with this tiny windshield, actually the wind and the buffeting, they were somehow constant, and they were not hitting me. This screen provides perfect visibility despite the fact that it's a smoked version. I will definitely keep it for the next weeks and months for my off-road trainings. Of course, before reaching the off-road sections, you need to pass European roads or highways even, and still this windshield will provide a decent protection if you're riding slow. When I mean slow, I mean speeds of maximum 100 kilometers per hour. But if you're riding like me with 80-90 kilometers per hour on normal roads, this windshield will be just perfect until I'm gonna reach the off-roads. I can recommend this screen if you're usually riding with very low speeds, or you're riding off-road, or even if you're riding in the city. In the city traffic, I don't think you even need a windscreen, honestly. Yeah, the buffeting was the wind was quite strong on the highway with this one, with the smaller from Isotta, with a smaller windscreen. But let's see, I'm planning to use it in the next weeks on my off-road trainings, and I'm gonna keep it. Now let's mount the phone support, the GPS support from Isotta. It was provided also together with the windscreens. What I like is that here the procedure is much simple. For example, we can use the same rubbers, we can keep the screen, and then there is a preset where we can actually put the bolts, and there is already a place to put the screws. For example, this type of screws, which they have already a place here on the bracket, on the GPS mount. And we'll start with the first one and the second one, and let's see the final result. You see here everything, it's perfectly fitting to the bracket. This arm, this bracket of the GPS mount will fit perfectly to the bracket of the OEM windshield, and you can check it out. We have just simple bolts. I think as a feedback for Isotta is make it simple as possible. And now we've managed to put everything inside. We're gonna tidy it up step by step in order to have perfect alignment. The bolts are longer enough in order to catch also behind here. You see, there is an extension on the GPS bracket that allows for the bolt to go inside perfectly. It's important to tidy it up to prevent the eventual vibrations from the phone mount. Anyway, we have these rubber dampers, vibration dampers, which are working perfectly so far. Already checked with the two windscreens. And this is the last piece of the puzzle which we're gonna mount. And this is the last bracket. We just put it in its place. We need to put the bolts and tighten everything up. Just check it out. We still have the plastic washers, and we just need to tighten everything up, and we're good to go. I must admit that there is a pretty elegant solution with these valves, left and right side, that allow you to to adjust during your ride the GPS positioning, the phone positioning, so it's very easy to adjust it afterwards. You just play with the valves and you are actually putting the phone mount in your desired position. So a very good solution here, because otherwise you need a screwdriver all the time. So with this valves, a pretty elegant solution found by the guys from Isotta. Really nice, I like it so far. I'm looking forward to mount my phone here. I'm planning to mount my quad lock here, or the Car Pure Ride waterproof navigator. It's very strong. You can easily adjust it with these valves, and it looks awesome. It's very strongly attached to the windshield brackets, and it makes actually the installation of the windshield much easier. Everything looks very nice. I like it quite a lot. And of course the quad lock will be installed here, but I need a smaller size for this mount. So far I'm very pleased about what I received, and I'm gonna keep this combination of off-road windshield plus the phone mount. Everything is prepared. We're ready to go actually. I look forward to test more and more quality products and present you here on the channel. If you have a quality product, don't forget to send it and we're gonna test it for you. It was my pleasure to test a quality product from the company Isotta, 2 windscreens and a phone mount. Until next time, bye bye.